My name is Robert Verkerk. I'm a scientist that has been involved for over 40 years trying to facilitate the better connection between human beings and nature. And I've done that both in the agricultural area, and for the last 22 years it's been very much in the health area. And in essence, the medical system, the medical establishment, combined with regulatory pressures, have made it ever harder to be able to get really therapeutic, natural products. These are the products that, you know, humans have evolved alongside, available on the marketplace. And a big part of that the dial has been moved very much quicker during the COVID era, where we saw very severe restrictions on a whole range of natural products. And obviously, as we move now to supranational control by the World Health Organization, our choices and our freedoms become ever more limited.
So this means that there is a parallel between agricultural practices, mostly chemical, let's say, and the medical practices.
Exactly. We see an attack now on many forms of agriculture. Even organic farming or regenerative agriculture is now coming under attack. We see farmers rebelling. It's a very complicated challenge that's being faced. It's very different in different parts of Europe. But one way or another, either because of the pressure on that agricultural resource, the use of the climate change narrative to limit the availability, and of course the food companies are looking at new technologies using gene editing techniques and CRISPR to slip them through into the food supply and say, guys, you no longer need to eat real food. We're going to produce fake food for you, fake meat, fake milk. It's all on the way.
We could say that the Monsanto policy favoring GMO products and glyphosate and all these dangerous products have a similar way of behaving than the pharmaceutical industry towards medicine, such as Pfizer.
Exactly. I mean, the most extraordinary sleight of hand has occurred in the last 5 years because Europeans have been united against GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and yet the vast number of Europeans were quite willing to have a genetically modified vaccine, a synthetic biology vaccine, put into their bodies. So essentially people have become so confused with different information. The regulatory system now is it's essentially a system where there is no separation of powers between governments and the private corporations that make these products, and they have a plan, and it involves disconnecting us ever more from nature. And essentially most of the diseases we now suffer from, degenerative diseases with an aging population, are diseases of disconnection socially and also from nature. So we need to re-establish those connections.
Nevertheless, there are many ecological movements fighting those companies, fighting the agro business and the chemical pesticides in the earth, whereas in the medicine there are very few NGOs fighting the non-natural medicine. How come?
Well, essentially because of pharmaceutical control. The people who have been defending the right to use natural medicines generally are practitioner groups. So those practitioner associations exist, but they're given inferior status to medical doctors, despite the fact that they spend their lives being trained in natural medicine. So the battleground has been going on between both the practitioners, and this is the battleground we have been involved in for 22 years, between the practitioners and the companies that make those natural products. All of them are consistently under attack. And we've had many wins, but we've also had losses. The difficulty is that the regulatory system is becoming ever more stringent. The pharmaceutical industry has run out of new-to-nature blockbuster drugs. They've hit the patent cliff, and now they're moving into the area of biosimilars, and essentially they're on the same space as the natural product industry. And we need to fix that, and one of the ways of fixing that is changing the way the definitions of drugs and the definition of foods relate. And that's one of the big projects that we're involved with.
If I just tell you a little bit about myself, is that I'm the executive coordinator for the Alliance for Natural Health International, but I am also a health professional. So I have a background in functional medicine, and clinical psychoneuroimmunology. And I'm absolutely passionate about nature-aligned approaches to health and healing, because we are whole organisms. And so we are multidimensional, and we need many different approaches to enable us to help with our health. And unfortunately, the conventional system is about drugs, and about separating the body into different pieces and not looking at the whole person.
It's very interesting to see that in our societies, medicine, or official conventional medicine, is playing the same role than in politics, where you have unique ruling parties in the power, and you have a unique medical system in the power.
It's not a health system. It's about making disease because it makes money. And if you have a look at our, mainstream medical model that has control everywhere, it is hugely expensive. It's about new to nature molecules. It's about giving people drugs, which is effectively just dealing with symptoms. It doesn't address the cause of any of the problems. It doesn't allow you to go back and find out what's ailing someone. And I've been a practitioner for more than 35 years. And my own health journey of autoimmune disease is what got me into it in my 20s. As you can see, I'm standing here healed and healthy, but I've done it naturally. But unfortunately, if we don't address the cause, people won't get well. The body is trying to tell us what's wrong, and by addressing the cause, then you're talking about proper wellness rather than just mopping up symptoms.
Yeah. So there are many ways to help the people, to cure the patients, to take care of the body. But there is only one that is officially recognized, which is the medico-pharmaceutical system, with all its maybe some advantages. Sometimes it can be useful, but in general, all the disease can be cured by much more natural ways.
You're so right, and the thing is, I don't want to detract from acute medicine, because if I got run over by a bus or a tram here in Geneva, I would be so grateful to go to the emergency room and be taken care of. But for chronic disease, which is actually wiping out most of our population, that is dealt with very well with more natural and sustainable approaches. And look at these beautiful trees, look at all this nature around us. Nature holds the key, and even being able to get out into green spaces enables us to make change, because we breathe in new microbes to populate our microbiome. The food industry is also very tied in with the disease industry. If we change the way we eat, if we help our bodies and our metabolism in a different way, we start to see a complete change in the chronic disease paradigm. But of course, that's the message they don't want you to get, because it's cheap.
In the past, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, it was officially promoting traditional medicines, and there was a trend for that. But now it is saying that sometimes they make courses, or they make incentive for poor countries to use these medicines, but in reality they are promoting and working only for pharmaceutical companies.
Unfortunately, we've got a situation now where the WHO is pretty much privately owned, and you've got to follow the money. Like everywhere else, you follow the money and you see what the agenda is. And you're right, the WHO has done some amazing work in the past, but now it's being used as the mouthpiece of globalists and billionaires who are wanting to see another agenda take place in our world. And we have to not be silenced, and we must not accept it.
And last question, are you optimistic that you can, with your action and others, you can revert this process, revert this trend?
Completely. I have no doubt, because we are so powerful as human beings. And when we come together to work together with our open hearts and our passion, we make change in the world. They have tried very, very hard to separate people from the power that we have. And now you see the world waking up and realizing that we 8 billion, we hold all the keys. And they are so few and we're so many. We just need more people to understand that. But I have every faith that we are freeing this world.